left the station just after 0200 hours. There were three of them: Commander Juno Patel, Specialist Harding, and Pilot Rhys. The EVA was scheduled and routine: a systems check on the external communication relay and a minor patch on the solar array. Nothing unusual. We had all done spacewalks before. I'd even done one the previous week. Still, Juno insisted I stay behind to monitor internal systems. Protocol, she said. Someone had to stay indoors. I didn't argue. Outside the airlock, the infinite black stretched in all directions like a sea without surface. I never liked being too long outside. I watched them leave through the glass viewport, slow-moving shadows pushed gently into space by mechanical arms. Their suits were white, pristine, humming with life support telemetry. I remember the way their tethers uncoiled after them like silver umbilical cords. For a while, their comms were filled with ordinary chatter. Diagnostic readings, jokes about missing Earth food, Rhys making his usual horror movie references to lighten the mood. Outside these walls, you had to laugh, or the silence might crush you. At first, I didn't notice the change. The station was quiet, aside from the low hum of power cycling through the walls and the occasional creak of metal contracting in the cold. I was finishing a log update when Juno's voice cut mid-sentence, just static. "Juno, repeat, please," I said, tapping into the comms. Nothing came back but a low hiss. I waited, assuming interference. Solar flares sometimes caused brief outages, and the relay they were repairing had been glitching for days. I toggled to Harding's frequency. Then Rhys. No response. I stared at the console. 3 green dots representing their biosigns pulsed softly. Heart rates, temperatures, oxygen levels, all normal. I watched those dots for a long time. Then one of them blinked out. At first, I thought it was a glitch, a misread in the telemetry. I rebooted the display system. When it came back online, Harding's signal was gone. Just gone. No warning, no spike in vitals, no drop-off, just a clean vanishing. I felt something tighten in my chest. My breath became shallow. I hailed the others again. "Juno, Rhys, do you copy? Harding's feed is offline. Respond." Rhys came on then, barely a whisper across the static. "Something's wrong," he said. "We can't see him." I paused. "What do you mean, can't see him? He's tethered?" "He's right. He's not. He's just not." I pulled up the external cameras. The feed was grainy, but I could make out their white suits against the star field. 2 figures, floating. Rhys was closest to the solar panel. Juno further out. Harding was nowhere. "Still no visual," Juno said after a pause. I watched as she angled her helmet light into the yawning blackness behind a panel. "There's nowhere he could have gone," she muttered. Another dot blinked out. Rhys. All biosigns gone. The feed flashed red for a moment, indicating a total loss of signal, then faded back to black. I leaned forward, eyes wide, palms damp against the console. "Rhys just disappeared," I said into the mic. "Are you reading this?" Juno didn't respond for a while. Then, "I'm coming back." I stood, heart racing, and moved to the viewport. I saw her then, a lone white figure, slowly reeling herself back along the tether line. Her form seemed distorted somehow. It must have been the camera angle, or a lens flare, but the light around her helmet was wrong. A halo of shimmering that didn't align with any known reflection. Her movements were sluggish. I watched as the tether went taut, then slack, then taut again, as though something invisible were tugging her back. "Juno, respond. Are you all right?" Her voice came through in a low murmur. "I'm not alone." My stomach flipped. What do you mean? She was silent. The static pulsed louder in my ears, then, behind me. It's following. I leaned closer to the glass, but there was only the void behind her. An endless black so thick it felt like it was pressing against the station itself. Then she stopped moving. The tether went slack. I watched as her body slowly spun, weightless, one arm extended toward the hatch. Then as I stared, her visor fogged, white breath patterns spiraling across the glass. She was breathing hard, fast, but she wasn't moving closer. "Juno," I said, my voice hoarse. "Retract your tether. Pull yourself in. Now." "I'm trying," she whispered. "It's holding me." I saw her suit jerk. Not hard, but enough. Enough to make her twist midair, flail slightly. My blood went cold. She was yanked back. Hard. The tether went straight as a wire, then snapped. She vanished beyond the station's camera arc. I stood frozen, one hand on the viewport glass. I hailed her again and again, but the channel was dead. The last green dot on the console blinked out. For 6 hours, I sat at the station's control module, replaying the footage, rerunning telemetry. There was no debris, no indication of malfunction. Just 3 astronauts leaving, and none returning. I requested emergency contact with Mission Control, but the signal came back, distorted. No sound, just an echoing loop of my last log entry, repeated in fragments, like something had hijacked the signal or replaced it. I began to hear things. Not over the comms, but inside the station. Soft thumps, like footfalls on the hull, scrapes against the airlock. I checked every internal camera, every sensor. Nothing registered. But the sounds continued. Always at the edge of hearing, always when I wasn't looking directly at a source. The lights flickered on Deck C twice. The temperature dropped by several degrees in Storage Module 2. None of this made sense. The systems were stable and still. I felt it, that I was not alone. I tried to sleep, but the hum of the station had changed. It wasn't the usual low throb of machinery. It had a rhythm now, almost like breathing, or a heartbeat. I sealed the airlock and double-checked the emergency pods. I knew I had to get out. That night, if you can call it night in a place where the sun never sets, I awoke to find the monitor on. The external camera showed the station again. 3 white figures floated outside. Juno, Harding, Rhys. Their suits hung slack, like puppets, helmless, mouths agape, orbiting the hull slowly in a perfect circle. But they weren't dead. Their eyes were open. Fixed. On me. I smashed the monitor. It flickered, then shut off. When I looked again, nothing. No movement outside. Just stars. But I know what I saw. Their eyes, their mouths, the curve of their orbit, waiting. I've stopped trying to call Earth. Even if the signal got through, what would I say? That something came out of the black and took my crewmates? That it wore their skin and paraded them past me like a warning? The air feels heavier now. The station feels smaller. Sometimes I hear breathing that isn't mine, synced with the hum in the walls. And sometimes I see shadows move across the viewport, even when I'm not near it. I no longer sleep. I no longer eat much. But I wait because I know it's coming in, not for a rescue, but for me.